All right, welcome to the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270 and Facebook Live. Live from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck, it's the Bobcats and the Austin Bruins this weekend, as the Bobcats were off last week, their first of two scheduled bye weeks this season. Bobcats coming off 2 wins against St. Cloud. They've won 5 of their last 6 games and finish up a homestand against the Austin Bruins this weekend. Tickets on sale now at BismarckBobcats.com and on the free Bismarck Bobcats mobile app. We invite you into our Oktoberfest night on Friday night. Buy one, get one beers from 6:15 to 7:15 puck drop, as well as special Oktoberfest games throughout the night. And Saturday night is just Saturday night, but still Bobcats hockey against the Austin Bruins. Layne Sedevie and Hunter Laslo, the 2 Bobcat coaches, will join us to bookend the show. Layne's hopping on right now. Nick Baer and Landon Fandel are the 2 guests today, a couple of Bobcat rookie defensemen. Layne, the not-so-rookie head coach. How are you?
Good, Corey. How are you?
Doing great.
Oh, we got some volume there.
Yeah, first time in a while.
I know. Everybody complains that it's too low.
Exactly. Well, complain no more. I'm the low one now. So, some big news to address. Do you want to start with Neumeier or the marathon?
Probably Newey.
All right, so Michael Neumeier, I keep telling him, Layne, over his 2 years here, go to Syracuse, get a good education, play some hockey for a great Division I school. I guess Colgate's the next best thing, an hour away in Hamilton, New York. Michael Neumeier, a future Colgate Raider.
Newsflash, Corey.
What?
We're not playing basketball.
We're not?
No. So he shouldn't go to Syracuse.
That's too bad.
I mean, if it was basketball, I'd say you got a valid argument. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome for Newey. I mean, he had quite a few options and, went on some visits. And, I mean, that's everything that, his parents have given him his whole career and what he's worked for. So, that's the fun part about what the Bobcats have to offer here. And that's, the ability to get a college scholarship and fulfill your dreams. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I tell the guys all the time, there's nothing better about our jobs that we have to offer them. Wins are great, but when you can get a young man an opportunity to play college hockey, there's nothing better.
Well, I know that you said it a couple weeks ago. Mike would say the same thing if asked, that he wants to get that out of the way early so we can focus on this season, and pretty good season he's having for the Bobcats now, over a point per game, top defensive scorer in the entire league as of last week. It seemed like everywhere you went that had scouts in the building, they all wanted to talk with one guy, and that's Michael Neumeier. He had some options for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of options. I mean, there's probably, I would say, 25, 30 schools in the mix. And I think if he would have waited, there might be more. I mean, it's, you never know. But again, he got the best offer he can possibly get, from Colgate. And his uncle went there, and there's some history there. So, he ended up deciding, I think, a great spot. I mean, look at, you don't necessarily know him, but Tommy Berglund's there, having a fantastic career. And I think it's a great fit for Newey. He was very adamant about getting it out of the way, like you mentioned, and not having it weigh on what he needs to focus on. I think that to me that's a mature decision. He had a lot of interest. He had a lot of options, and I think he made a great decision. I mean, it's there's only 60 some schools in Division I college hockey, and the opportunity he's getting is the best there is. So I'm happy for Mike. I mean, from where he's came from at the start of last year to what he ended up with at the end of last year to where he is now, I think we've seen a really good transition of what Mike can be, not only the rest of the season, but I really feel that he is probably the best defenseman in this league, and kudos to him for getting that deal done, and now he can focus on what he needs to focus on.
You said that last year. Michael Neumeier is going to be a really good college hockey player. He'll go to a high-level D1 school, and it really just came to fruition over this past month or so, that what you were talking about has really come to reality. He's got 12 points in 10 games, and he commits to Colgate over the bye week. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where I think he's seen at the end of last year, and he gets drafted high in the USHL, and for some reason he doesn't make it there, but he comes back here and has a ton of success, and gets defenseman of the month, and really to me the rest is kind of icing on the cake when you really sit back and. I don't want to say it was expected, but it really was with his ability and what he does on a day-to-day basis. That's the crazy part. You watch practice, you see his stick skills, his hand skills, and what he can offer. I think it's really the sky's the limit for him. But I just look back from when we got him to where he is now, and there's it's not, to me, there's no surprise why you come out of the locker room, even though we didn't have success at the showcase, they wanted to talk to Mike, and I think there's a big reason. Obviously, deer are hard to find, and good ones are hard to find, and he's a good one.
All right, so Michael Newmeyer, Bobcat defenseman, committing to Colgate, the first non-Northern Michigan commit on this team, finally. Bobcats get some new logos on the line chart. So Newey commits, and you'll see him, of course, this week. Bobcats and the Austin Bruins coming up on Friday and Saturday, both home games. All right, the marathon. Mankato Marathon, you and Hunter Laslo both run it last Saturday. You and Laz both finish it. I know you had some goals in mind, and I'll talk to Laz about his, which was mostly to finish, but yours, had some time involved. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. It was a hard course. It was the hardest one I've ever ran. There's a few comments. I'm on Facebook, but my wife was sharing a few comments. That were on Facebook, and Katrina Nelson was one of them that said that I just knew when we drove into Mankato, when we went down a huge hill, that at some point we were gonna battle hills, and mile 5 was a grind. I thought about honestly quitting, and that's probably half the battle with the marathon. You feel good, you feel bad, the mental side of it is probably the toughest part. But at mile 5, it was a complete climb for a mile. Probably like Mary Hill, longer than Mary Hill, for everybody in the area that knows that. And that, to me, that's just not typical for a marathon course. And mile 14 through mile 17 were also a climb. And then mile 19, we had 200 feet of descent. And when your legs are that sore, it is extremely hard to run downhill, even though it sounds easy. And mile 25, I'm running with a guy, and he's pacing another guy, and we're ahead of what our goal is to, or my PR by I PR'd by almost 7 minutes. But I just said to the guy, I had no idea that this course was this hilly. And then the guy looks at me and he goes, well, it says the bold race for a reason. And I said, I had no idea. It was our off weekend. We'd had a few beers on the boat out fishing, and Laz said he's going to run a marathon, so it was our off weekend and we ran it. So I immediately got done, and I knew I would be fine. I was actually really concerned with how he would be. I mean, that was the last probably 6 miles. I knew I was good. I think when you get to mile 20, you know how your body's feeling, but I was more concerned, I think, with how Laz was going to do. I didn't know how he would do with the hills and running his first marathon, but he did really good. And I think he had a goal of somewhere around like 4:20, and he finished at 4:11. So it's really, really a good run for him. When you look at times, I think around the 4-hour mark is where about 50% of men that run a marathon finish. So he's right there at about halfway. And the crazier part for me is he went from couch basically to marathon, and it's something. And I told him on the ride home, I said it's very hard to describe. It's very self-rewarding. Only you know how hard you work to get there, how hard you work to be able to cross the finish line, and a lot of things have to go right. I mean, I was running with a guy that was pacing a 3:35 marathon, who is a really good runner, and our pacer cramped up. And that's the crazy part about the marathon in 26 miles. You just don't know what's going to happen that day with your body. And I'm thankful that Hunter was able to, have a good race, have a good experience, and before it's even over, he signed up for another one. So, I don't want to say I got him hooked, but I think he's definitely hooked.
So 4:11 that he ran, that's where around you were your first marathon, right?
Yeah, it was a 4:10. My goal was to run a 4, and I cramped at 22, and I couldn't even stand. And found some way to finish in 4:10. So yeah, it's a very respectable time, and especially on that course. I think it's really when you look at when you watch the majors on per se TV, they're running a road, and it's not a bunch of turns. It's not uphill, downhill. It's relatively flat, and that's the thing about this course. I told Hunter right away. I said, you run this here, you have a lot of time to prepare for Grandma's in Duluth, and the nice part about Grandma's is it's rolling hills, so you're not climbing 200 feet of elevation in a mile. So I think he's going to do really well at Grandma's, and I was happy that he had a good experience, because it can go bad in a hurry at that distance.
It should put a lot of what you do into perspective when you look at your time of 3:35, a well above average time, and yet you know what the qualifying time is for your age group for Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I think
3:05.
Yeah, and well, not in about 6 months.
Still 3:05.
No.
The extra 5 minutes won't hurt too bad.
I turned 40 in April 8th, so yeah, I mean that's I think that's my goal on more of a flat course. I'll try and get under that 3:20. I don't think I'll qualify. It's just I don't know. I mean, I didn't even start out as a runner. I'm not a runner. My wife got me into running for some reason. She wanted to run when I met her, and she was running, marathons and all this stuff, and I had no interest. And I look back, and I feel pretty bad about it, because now it's a huge part of my life, and I was extremely overweight and didn't care about it, and it's something that I look back and I wish, because she's run, she ran Twin Cities, she ran a major in Chicago, and I wasn't there for it. So, but she got me into running, and I told myself I'd give it a couple years. It might take more than a couple years, but it's something that I'm trying to strive for, and if I can get down to that 3 hour mark, I think it would be pretty dang cool. I know, a good friend of mine, Byron Poole, who's run and qualified for Byron. He didn't. Byron qualified for Boston, didn't get in, because the crazy part is you can qualify, and if your time's not good enough, you still don't get in. But if he ever gets in, I'm Layne and I talked, and it doesn't matter to me if somebody I know that gets in. I'm going to support him, because I know how hard people work to get there.
It's a good excuse for a road trip, right? Watch somebody take a marathon.
Yeah, and it's going to be with our schedule, it's hard to get there, but we'd find a way. I think that's the cool part about races, and I think Hunter will probably say same thing as. The smaller ones are kind of cool that way. They announce your name, where you're from when you cross the line, and there's people surrounded, and there's people encouraging you, and that's kind of the neat part about the running community. When I go out for a run here, everybody says hi. Everybody's so polite. That's probably the part I enjoy the most about running, is it's time by yourself. It's time to to think about a lot of things, and I think for me as a coach, it's probably very healthy to have that downtime per se as when I do running. But the cool part is just people, they understand. I mean, it was the coldest run I've ever been on. It was 28 degrees, 22 degrees real feel. And Corey, there was a guy that ran the full marathon with no shoes.
No shoes.
No shoes. And when we got in the car afterwards, I drove, I think, for 5 hours, because I knew Hunter was probably going to be a little beat up. And he takes his. We get about 2 hours down the road, and we got to get out of the car, because the worst thing we possibly could have done was get in the car and sit there. It's just not good. And he starts taking his shoes off, and he's got blood on his socks, and he's counting blisters on his feet, and he's got bloody toes and 6 blisters. And I'm just like, man, I mean, it's just it's a lot of sacrifice, but definitely proud of him. I think it's really neat to kind of say that I had a part in that. There's really no way around it. It's a heck of an accomplishment to run a marathon. So we ran together for almost probably 8-9 weeks of the training, and then he kind of went on his own, and he's like, well, you kind of ditched me, and part of the reason is I wanted him to have to run those long runs on his own, because I've never ran with anybody, and when you're out there by yourself, you find a lot out about yourself, and that's part of the reason. So when he's on a run like he was last Saturday, I felt really comfortable that he would be prepared and be able to do it. So really cool for him. I mean, it's I put my stuff aside and that sort of stuff, and just I'm happy that that he had a good experience, and that he did really well.
All right, there you have it. Layne Sedevie, Hunter Laslo running marathons. No more marathon talk for a while now on the Coaches Show, since that's all done until the Turkey Trot next month, of course. So a bye week for you guys. Playing nobody last week. You've won 5 out of 6 games. Austin Bruins coming up. Your approach to the bye week, you told me, was the same as it was last year. Still work the guys hard. Monday through Friday practice last week, and, of course, this week, too, with games on Friday and Saturday. Do you feel like the bye came at a good or a bad time?
It's hard to say. I think we'll maybe know more this weekend. I think with our injuries and that sort of stuff, I don't think it hurt us. The bad part is we're not getting any of those guys back, in short term. So, again, you sit and weigh, momentum and that sort of stuff. So I don't know. It's really hard to, when you sit back and reflect on it, what's the right thing, what's the wrong thing. I know, scheduling is obviously hard, and I would say it's very unique that we have I don't know if I remember one this early in the season, but again, it's a bye week. It is what it is, and I think everything that happened after St. Cloud and we move forward here, we're going to be short on Friday night with our suspensions and that sort of stuff. So, I don't know if I have a right answer for you. I just think it kind of is what it is, and you take them as they come. There's nothing you can change about it. I always try and tell the guys my main message is control what you can control, and that's hopefully they had a good weekend. With the guys and build some team chemistry and can move forward, and we can keep that momentum rolling.
So there's no blueprint to keeping the guys hot, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, there is, and that's playing. But that's not the case here. So there's nothing you can do about it, and at the end of the day, we got to be ready to go on Friday.
All right, so let's take a snapshot of where the guys are at right now. You're 5-4-1 through 10 games, 0-4 in the showcase, just like last year, but 5-1 in division play. You just swept St. Cloud at home, where you've been pretty good so far this season. Let's look at the goal scoring, first of all. Offensively, Verti Jantinen's got 8 points. Evan Hunter, I believe, 13 points in 10 games. Verti, 8 goals, I should say, in 10 games. Where's your offense at right now, but especially those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty happy with our offense. I think when we left the showcase, it was not where we needed it to be, but we still had really good chances, and I think that was the big thing, is just knowing that those chances were going to go in if we kept getting those chances. And it's when you try and convey your message to a group of young men, it's sometimes it can be, maybe they don't believe you, but it's nice to see that actually happen in games. And we've scored in bunches. We've scored a lot of goals. And I think we do have some good skill up front. I think we have some good skill in the back end. I mean, you look at Mikey, who leads the league. You look at Rolly, who had 2 huge goals for us last weekend, and some of those other guys back there. Beeks is talented. I mean, but to me, that's the big difference in having those veteran guys that we didn't have last year, and we have a lot of injuries, and we have guys that are on long term, and we're not going to get back for 6 months or around 2 months. We're still able to get points in games, and that's something we were not able to do with losing, Z and, some of those key guys when we only had 3 or 4 veterans last year. So hopefully that's the case, that we can keep going. But I've liked our offense. I also like the fact that, Kyle Dahl and some of those guys, our younger guys, are getting their first points. I mean, Eric Atchinson's not a young guy, but he gets his first goal. He probably should have 7 or 8. But, it's one of those things where, one can go a long ways. So I think that's, in the big scheme, I think that's all good stuff. So, hopefully we can keep finding the back of the net. I mean, that's a big part of how you win games, and hopefully we can, keep the goals against down. I mean, that's one of the areas of concern for me. With the question you ask, I think the reason why we've had success is because we've scored a lot of goals. And in games we've been okay. I don't think as a whole we've defended as well as we could.
Yeah, defensively was, the one part of the offseason where you think, okay, we're getting most defensemen back from last year. That should not be too huge of a problem, but numbers are similar. 22nd in goals against. Offense has still outscored the defense, but 22nd in goals against for the year. Defensively, scoring-wise has been good in terms of defensemen scoring, but allowing goals that'll happen 2, 3, 4 times a game. What's the concern? How do you fix it?
Well, I think you have to defend as a group, and I don't think it just goes on our D pair that's on the ice, and that to me is understanding, our D, when to go. If we've had a bad turnover, to me it's our forwards working to get back, and I think that's you defend collectively as a group. You defend as 5. You necessarily don't score as 5, but everything from their blue line back, it's everybody on the ice, and I think that's the big key is working without the puck, working back to the middle of the ice, working back to our net, and to me that's something that needs to get better. I think it's, I think if you look at the last St. Cloud game, it's maybe a little bit off just for the fact that I don't think you're going to see a lot of things in that game. You're not going to see a team necessarily pull their goaltender for 9 minutes straight, and that I think that kind of put us in a different situation. Again, you don't want to give up those goals, but the nice part is like we talked about, our offense puts up 6 or 7, and it doesn't hurt us. So I think just collectively as a group, everybody that's on the ice has to do their job. And to me, that's how you defend, and you have to take away time and space and do a good job. You got to work in your own end. That's the bottom line. I always tell our guys, whatever you do with the puck, from their blue line in, hey, make plays, do whatever you want. If you turn a puck over, you got to come back 200 feet, and that's just that to me. That's the game of hockey. If you turn the puck over, you got to come back, and you got to work without the puck to obviously get it back. I mean, possession is huge.
Do you coach differently, tell your guys different things defensively when your team is less lengthy defensively than last year? Aside from Newey and Roley, nobody else is, over 6'2"?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we have guys with good feet, and to me that's, the amount of conversations that I have with college guys is, number one, can they skate? If they can skate, we can teach them how to defend, and I think that's no different at our level. I think that's, I always think that your systems are probably not where you want them to be until, right, wrong, or indifferent, we brought the guys in early. But I still think until you get in those game situations and you see those breakdowns happen real time and you're able to show them on film, it's hard to correct them. And I think that's just a process of probably 2 to 3 months where you get to where your system is clicking on all cylinders. And, to me, like you look at a guy like Beeks, I mean, he can close on a guy. He skates very well. When you look at our back end, to me, when we've been getting in trouble is when we've been putting ourselves on the wrong side of the puck. And that creates a turnover, odd man rush back the other way. So a lot of it for me, I don't necessarily put on defending. I think it's a lot of it is decision making, and the old cliche, the 3 keys you asked me. I think managing the puck is completely one of the things that bit us early last year in a big way, and I still think it does and has this year early on. Not to the extent, but some of the decisions that we're making, not to get a puck deep, maybe forcing pucks to the middle of the ice, it's got to clean up.
Do you want to get that done with for the weekend? Our Puckledge 3 keys to the game?
I mean, we can.
Let's do it. Take your time.
Well, we can go key 1, and key 1 is either turnovers or puck management. I think it's, It's something that is a point of emphasis for us, and will be a point of emphasis for us for the rest of the year. And I think that's something that has to clean up. Whether it's our defenseman, whether it's our guy on the half wall that gets a puck, forcing it to the middle of the ice, and those are danger areas in our zone. So I feel like in those situations we need to live to fight another day, get it off the glass, get it out, or either be able to bump it back to the weak side, use our weak side D, and then get our feet going and take our ice. Conversely, managing the blue lines. And then when I say our blue line, that's getting pucks out, and their blue line, if we don't have anything, there's nothing wrong with putting it in a good area and getting our forecheck started. Now, the key is, to me, we have not put pucks in good areas. We've allowed their goaltender to come out and stop it almost every time. And when you do that, you can't get your forecheck clicking on all cylinders. You can't establish your forecheck. So we got to cross-corner dump it. We got to keep the puck away from their goaltender, and then we can get our feet going and really establish our zone time. And I don't think that's that is not one thing we've done a very good job with so far this year. So whether it's turnovers, I think you can look at the blue lines. There's so much neutral zone play. There's so much transition now with how good these kids can skate. And turnovers and puck management, I think, is a huge key for the weekend.
Are those all three?
No, that's one key.
Just one key? You want to do number two?
Yep.
Go for it.
Special teams. And, our special teams on Friday are going to be a lot different than our special teams on Saturday due to suspensions. But I do think it's, we moved some personnel, and we're trying to work with what we have. Some young guys have some opportunities on the second unit. They looked really good today. And conversely, you can take the power play. We've had success on it. Maybe not the success that we want to have on it, but we're scoring power play goals. You can throw that out, and my challenge is to the guys. And really, when you look at Adam Patilla and Eric Atchison, two key penalty kill guys, it's time for a penalty kill to step up and sacrifice and have character and do a good job. And to me, we need to do a good job, not only Friday, not only Saturday, but we need to do a good job for a stretch of 6 to 8 games to really establish our penalty kill, because to me, we're just so inconsistent on it. We do a really good job with the group that's out there. We get a change, the next group, we get beat. And it's just, to me, it's too inconsistent. And with where we are with, scoring a power play goal a game, whatever it is, we're not scoring 2 to 3 every game on the power play. So we got to do a good job on our PK. And I think more so than our power play, I don't mind where our power play's at. I want to see our PK really respond.
All right, so puck management 1, special teams 2, and 3?
Man, I think it's either A, having a good start, we're at home, we had some time off, or the whole weekend protecting our home ice. And I think we've done a good job, in our building. Minot stung us the first time. We come back, we get 4 points where we're supposed to. But to me, we got to take advantage of being in our own beds, eating our own food, not being on the road, not controlling the variables. To me, it's a big thing. And it might not be to a person from the outside, but when you're not eating what you normally eat, when you're not sleeping in your own beds, you're traveling, there's a lot of different variables. And when you're at home playing in front of our fans, to me, there's nothing better. There's nothing that you can't control to be ready for that puck drop on Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
About to say, not having my food's a big one, Layne, as you know.
To me, it's huge. I mean, we've had guys over the years, make their own food, bring it with them, and to me, those are the really dedicated guys. But you go on the road, you get cold food. It doesn't matter where you get it from. It's never hot. It's never. It is what it is, and that's part of junior hockey. I mean, you can sit here and you can say all the negative parts about it, but every team's got to go through it. It don't matter where you go, what you do, you're not getting warm food, probably 90% of the time, and that's just, it is what it is. So to me, when you're at home and when you're on the road, there's just differences, and to me, you really got to make and take advantage of when you're at home.
All right, Layne Sedevie, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, that's all for Layne. We'll check in with some players here on the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. All right, welcome back to the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Some players are joining us. Landon Fandel's coming up, but first, Nick Baer, fellow Bobcat rookie defenseman. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
You just told me you were terrible at hockey when you were a kid. What's going on?
I wouldn't say I was too bad, but I made Squirt C and PWB2 when I was younger. But it was mostly the summer of PWB2 after making that team. I'm like, I kind of want to play hockey, so just made the push, played summer hockey, and made the AA team the following year, and just kept pushing on from there.
Well, it's worked out. You're now in the North American League with the Bobcats. How's your season been going?
It's been going okay. Kind of a rocky here and there, but it's kind of the way she goes. You got to take it with what it is and make most of your opportunities that you get.
Bobcats are 5-4-1. You've won 5 out of 6. You haven't played in all the games, but you've played in some.
Yep.
Just being on the ice with the guys with a winning team, what's that been like?
It's probably the most rewarding part, I think. Being with the boys and their positive mindsets, it's infectious, and it gives me a way better viewpoint on the way I play, and I can learn from them and take that in my game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a first-year guy from Minnetonka, Minnesota. Minnetonka skipper.
Yep.
Now, I've wondered this. I wanted to ask you. Is it weird when you're like at a football game for Minnetonka and you're like, yeah, go Skippers?
Nope.
Does that
not
just
at
sound
all.
weird off the mouth?
Nope. I mean, I've been a skipper my whole life. I don't plan on changing that, so it's been normal.
Just saying go Skippers is usual?
It's Skippers. Go Skippers.
Yeah.
No.
Is there like a school that you hated?
Got to be Dinah or Eden Prairie. Hated those two. Eden Prairie and hockey and football. Football, they were really good at football, so I hate them in football for the most part, but Edina, hockey for sure.
Yeah, ask Chase Beacom what he thinks of Edina. He'll give you a great answer.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, Bloomington was a good spot for hockey players too back in the day, but they weren't a huge rival for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So being a Minnesota guy, a lot of people I talk to from the Twin Cities never come to Bismarck until now. But you've got a connection to Bismarck.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, I do. My dad, he used to work down here, wind farms and whatnot. But we had a house down here until or I guess his job or his contracting company had a house down here till last year, and we finally sold it, which is kind of upset about it. Wish I could have spent a little bit of time down there, but yeah, we've come down here since I was a little kid. He used to be in Indiana and Iowa and whatnot, but then he was in Bismarck and had the house for quite a while. I mean, I spent 10 years back and forth going through there, so it's a great spot down here, and I love it.
So were you the guy teaching the vets on where to go when they came here?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, they kind of had it down by the time I got here, but yeah.
What are some of the spots?
Some of the spots, I got to say the golf courses for sure. If not that, I mean, that Wings and Rings place had some pretty good wings. Otherwise, it's going to be some of the boys' houses they're pretty nice, so
Yeah.
chill out there a few times.
So you're a big golfer.
Yep.
Golfing season ends in about like 2 days.
Yep, I'm trying to get in tomorrow.
That's good.
Yep.
You a good golfer?
I'd like to say so. My teammates probably don't think so much, but
Who are some of the best golfers on this team?
I got to say Nolan Nenow and Jackson Ekblad for sure. I'd like to throw Kyle Dahl in there, but he's kind of had a rocky last part of the season there. So
Hey, just wait till you go bowling and you go up against Pitts, who bowls like 250s every time.
yeah, I know it's stupid, but I'm shooting for 100 every time I go bowling. So
There you go.
yeah.
What kind of player are you?
I believe I'm a shutdown defenseman. I try to play defense first most of the time. I like to get up in the play sometimes, of course, but you got to take your opportunities with a grain of salt and just keep moving forward. But kind of shut down D, get pucks north.
What do you learn from playing with guys like Michael Newmeyer, Luke Roloffs, and Ian, who you've been with on defense
Yep.
this season? What do you learn from those guys?
Learn from Michael Newmeyer just watching him play, but I try to not do what he does sometimes because he can do some things that I cannot. So I kind of just tone her down a bit, but enjoy the way he plays. But I learned a lot from Luke Roloffs for sure. Newmeyer's defensive side of the game and all those guys. I mean, Beeks is really good in the D zone. He's a really good skater, and you kind of just take that stuff and put it in your own game, you know.
Yeah. How much less time and space do you have now as opposed to high school?
I'd say a lot less time and space. I mean, I was able to skate the puck and pretty much control it in high school, but here it's like you got to get pucks north. I mean, there's a guy on you glass, and it's always a good rate option. As long as the turnovers don't happen down in our zone, it's a good thing.
Are you ever going to go to shoot the puck, get some pucks through like Luke and Mike have been doing this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it. I've been staying out in practice a little bit later working on that stuff, so I hope.
You ever like to chirp Layne and Laz in practice? 'Cause that's something Mike and Luke do a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I like chirping Laz. I mean, Ian Engel tossed him on the ice not too long ago. That was a good one. But no, it's mostly just Laz. Layne likes to get a little serious, so I don't know him that well yet. So just trying to tone it down and not take things too seriously here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so as far as the dynamic is between you and the coaches, Laz
Yeah.
is obviously a player's coach.
Yeah.
Lane's a big goofball when he's not actually
Yes.
teaching you guys.
Yes,
What's the
absolutely.
dynamic like?
In terms of,
Just how you get along with them and how's that compared to your other coaches in life?
I mean, yeah, I've known like my other coaches I've known for years, so I'm still trying to like mingle with these guys and learn a little bit more about them. But they're great coaches. They're great people. I like hanging out with them. I could hang out with them here in a bar and just shoot the
Shoot the breeze.
shoot the breeze for a little bit. But yeah, it's a blast being out here with the guys and talking with the coaches. They're great people.
So what do you do at night?
At night, I'd like to say get on Rel's and Atch's Minecraft server and maybe mine a little bit, but no, it's mostly just talk to my girlfriend for a little bit, get some food in me before I go to bed, and kind of Z it on out there.
Is it tough staying busy sometimes at night?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it proves how bored you can get when the wintertime comes. It's kind of tough, but it's a big change from when I was in Minnesota, because I kind of had my stuff planned out. I got a job, but I'm still looking for a job here, so it's kind of tough. finding things to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. Nick Baer will work for food.
Yes,
right?
I will work for food. And
Right.
if you have any contact information, I could reach out to somebody, and I need some food.
There you go. This guy's looking for a job.
Yes.
All right,
I'm
Nick
looking
Baer,
for a job.
thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Troy.
You bet. Landon Fandel's coming up on the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. All right, welcome back to the Bobcat Coaches Show here at the Tap-In Tavern. Landon Fandel joining us now, Bobcat defenseman. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Landon Fandel, I'm saying that right,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
How often do people get that wrong?
Well, it's Fandel almost every time someone says it, so I'm pretty used to it.
Yeah, does that not strike a nerve anymore when someone gets it wrong?
No, I'm used to it.
Yeah. So for those who are watching on Facebook Live, you see, Landon's big mustache, somewhat big and long hair, deep voice, of course. Would they believe you if you said you were the youngest Bobcat, which you are?
No. Everyone always thinks I'm older. My brother always says I look older than he does, so I don't know.
How old's he?
20, almost 21.
And you're 17.
Yeah.
So you're getting carded what? Never anymore, right?
No.
No? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yep.
Does that just come as part of being an athlete, growing up playing hockey?
Yeah, I don't know. I always matured faster than a lot of other guys, and I don't know. It's just something I got used to.
So you're from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yep.
Just the third Bobcat ever from South Dakota. We had one last year, Aiden Van Rooyen,
Yep.
he's really an Iowa kid, but
Yeah.
he lives in South Dakota, Dakota Dunes. What's it like growing up in Sioux Falls?
It's not really a big hockey spot, so it was always harder for me to move on, and always had to work harder than maybe guys from the cities area they have to. But I don't know, it's always a good feeling saying yeah, I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Nobody expects that, so I don't know. It's just working hard every day. I mean, trying to show kids from Sioux Falls that it's a real possibility and it's a big dream, but it's definitely achievable.
You say it's not a hockey spot, but the Stampede are a huge deal there.
Yeah, we got the Stampede. Now there's obviously Sioux Falls Power. It was Junior Stampede, but we just have normal club hockey, high school hockey, and Sioux Falls is probably one of the bigger spots in South Dakota. But other than that, there's not much.
So did you consider going somewhere else, like a prep school, to play against better kids?
At one point, yeah. And then, so I played 1 year of 14U with Sioux Falls Power, and then I got the opportunity for 16U under Noelle Needham. So I knew her connection with the Steel, and I knew how good of a coach she was, and didn't regret that at all.
So you're 17, a pretty young age to join the North American League or junior hockey in general.
Yep.
How'd you end up here?
I was in Chicago to start the year for training camp, and I got cut the last day. I got a call from Nico about 2 minutes after. He said he wants me in Bismarck, and I talked to Layne. He said get here as soon as possible. I was there the next day. So
Was there a lot of interest from other teams in this league to come get you?
No, it was weird. Literally 2 minutes after I got out of the meeting, Nico called me. I was like, All right, I'll be there.
It's like Nico had a mic set up in the building or
Pretty
something.
much, that's what it seemed like.
Is it going to be – well, you've already been back to play in Aberdeen. That was your first weekend. Is it cool being back in your home state playing?
Yeah, it felt good for sure. I mean, obviously I missed home a little bit. Missed South Dakota being 17, but I don't know, I'm loving it.
Do people give you some crap when you say you're from South Dakota? Because, we like our North Dakota here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but no. Going like playing in nationals, I swear, like people had no idea where South Dakota was.
I'd believe it.
So I don't know. I kind of got used to that too.
So you're the youngest Bobcat. You're 17 years old. You, Kyle Dahl, Nolan Nenow, I think that's it, 17-year-old guys, have to wear a cage.
Yeah.
I asked Kyle this last week, do people give you some chirps for it? He said no. You, on the other hand, are getting chirps all day long for wearing a cage.
Yeah, I get one pretty much every game. I'm always in scraps though. I like to play hard, play physical, and just comes with it.
I feel like that catches everyone by surprise when the youngest guy on this team, just joins the Bobcats in Aberdeen like a day before, whatever it was. And day one, you're blocking shots, getting in, darn near fights, and that's continued every single game. Is that weird to do as the youngest guy on the team?
I mean, that's just always how I've played. I always play hard, and obviously I've stepped up my physicality once I came here. I mean, Chicago was like a really, really skilled team, and that was the same with power. So I never, I played physical, but not as physical as I'm playing now, and I don't know, I like getting in there and getting under people's skin, so.
Is that your style of play?
A little bit. Not as much as Pitts, but yeah.
I was going to ask, how do you and Pitts compare, and what have you learned from him as far as being a pest is concerned?
He, I don't know. He plays hard, and I mean, I love the way he plays. He's skilled and gets in dirty areas, and that's how I want to play. Maybe not as pesty as him, but.
Do you want to be a two-way D too? I've seen you shoot some pucks over the last couple games.
Yeah, that's how I've played. That's what I strive to play like. So I like joining rushes, getting in the offensive play. Love playing like that.
Do you wish you could have been part of the fight 2 weeks ago?
No, I was glad I was on the bench. I didn't even want to go out there afterwards. Not that, I mean, could hold my own, but yeah, it was something.
So you're still in school, right?
Yeah.
How are you handling that?
It's tough. Online school is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but it's just something I got to push through for another year.
Are you doing what Kyle's doing and having all his stuff due on Sunday?
No, all my stuff is technically due next September, so I'm trying to graduate from my school in Sioux Falls, but I don't know. That's the goal.
So you have a whole year of stuff, just do it whenever you want, have it done by September?
Yep.
You could just do it all in like a bye week.
I know. It's nice, but it's hard to find the motivation to do it every day, but I normally can get it done.
Yeah. What do you know about the Austin Bruins and what's on tap for us this weekend?
I know they're good. That's all I know. I don't know much about any of the teams in the NAL. Never really watched anything last year or years before, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, just go out, do your thing, I guess, and win some more games.
Yep.
All right, fans, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Hunter Laslo wraps up the Coach's Show in a moment on Super Talk 1270. All right, welcome back to the Bobcat Coaches Show. Bobcats and Austin are set for 2 games on Friday and Saturday from the VFW Sports Center. And Hunter Laslo's here to talk about them. How are you?
I'm good, Corey. How are you?
Not too bad. Spent a long time talking about the marathon with Layne. No more marathon talk till the next one, whenever that comes. I know you're sick of talking about it every week on the Coaches Show, but congrats are in order.
Thank you.
Your first marathon's complete at a tough Mankato course, 4 hours, 11 minutes. How'd you feel?
Good. Felt better than I was expecting going into it. Surprised myself a little bit, but overall just happy I finished, and we'll kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, no. Layne was saying your feet were all messed up afterwards. Is that true?
Yeah, I had some pretty bad blisters and whatnot, but for the most part, nothing serious coming out of it. Just a couple blisters, a couple sore muscles, and other than that, I feel pretty good now.
There you go. So are you going to be the type of guy who runs a turkey trot every Thanksgiving, or not so much?
Well, I ran one last year, Bismarck, and I might have to do it again this year. Hopefully, it's not as cold. It was like negative 15 last year, so hopefully it's not that cold when we start. But I'll probably do it this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I asked Landon this, and he said he gets it all the time. Can you believe that guy who looks like that and talks like that is the youngest Bobcat we have?
No. Yeah, when we first got him and he played for us in Aberdeen, Layne and I both kind of looked at each other like, is this kid really 17 years old? He plays above his years and plays hard. Definitely more mature than his age represents. But again, a kid we're very fortunate to have for us this year. Does a lot of the little things right, carries himself the right way, and a kid that's a pleasure to work with every day.
How about the rest of the guys that have a bye week? This weekend really was, or last weekend was the only time they were off. Monday through Friday practice both weeks. Trying to keep the guys hot after not being able to play. You've been good. 5 out of 6 you've won. Layne said there's no real blueprint to keeping the guys in shape and hot and on a streak. How do you manage the bye week for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did a good job putting in a good body of work on Monday through Friday of last week, and obviously a situation where Layne and I were out of town just for the marathon, but I know the guys had a good captain's skate on Friday and did some team activities over the course of the weekend, so just keep them in the groove of somewhat of a schedule. I mean, obviously it's nice to have a bye weekend when you do get it, especially for us in our situation. Had gone through some injury stuff, and obviously after 2 weekends ago now, the kind of melee we had with St. Cloud allows us to kind of decompress from that weekend, and obviously we'll be short this weekend for Friday at least, with Atch and Pitt serving their suspension. But again, I mean, I agree with Layne. There's no real recipe to keep everyone engaged, but obviously when you get back to a full week and starting, which was Monday, you just get back to your basic stuff, what you do every other week without a bye week. So just making sure we're getting up and down the ice, moving, kind of hammering our systems in, any adjustments that we've made heading into this weekend with Austin to make sure that we take care of 4 points on our home ice.
How does your team, especially special teams with 2 power play guys down, and Eric Atchison and Adam Patilla, how does that change and your approach in practice without those 2 guys change for Friday's game?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part in practice, they're still obviously fully involved in line combinations, stuff like that, but obviously we have to prepare for Friday with those 2 guys out of the lineup. So we put a couple combinations together for our first and second unit, and our first unit kind of just went back to what it was before we got Pitts, so kind of already had some chemistry going there. And then the second unit we built up today, moved the puck really well, got some good chances obviously in practice, and I know that changes when you get into a game situation, but had some chemistry right off the hop. So we obviously trust our guys in whatever situation we put them in, and it obviously gives a good opportunity to guys that maybe haven't been on a special team situation, especially on the power play, a good opportunity to showcase what they can do while we have 2 guys out of the lineup that normally would be in that position.
All right, snapshot of the Bobcats right now through 10 games. You're 1-6 done. 5-4-1 overall. You've won 5 out of 6. Good so far at home. Great on the road. Where is this team at right now, both sides of the puck?
I think offensively we're good. I think sometimes our forecheck, we get a little lackadaisical on that, and that's something we need to be more consistent in because when we run our forecheck effectively, it's just that. We're effective. We get chances off it. We cause turnovers. We cause D to force pucks. But when we when we don't execute our forecheck and we don't work, that's when we allow teams to exit the zone really easily and transition on us. And then defensively, I think we just need to do a better job of protecting the middle of the ice, especially when teams get possession and start working a cycle in our own end. We've had some moments where we tend to get a little bit lost and running around. And instead of doing that, we just need to rely on what we preach in practice, what we work on in practice, which is protecting the house and keeping those grade A opportunities, the outside and the perimeter. And when we've done that consistently in games, we've done a really good job at having success. So I like our team as we stand. Obviously, it's still early and we got tons of room to improve and grow. But I do like where we stand. I like the group we have. I think we got a tight bond in the locker room, and the guys seem to really get along, which is obviously a big part to having on-ice success. So, so far, I like where we're going, but plenty of room to improve.
Is it nice being able to coach a team where the learning curve to finally get back in a groove is like 5 games and not 30, what it was for last season?
Yes, and in our first, obviously at the showcase where we didn't perform well, me and Layne both got feelings of a little bit of last year, but we've done a good job of making sure that hasn't continued further than just those first couple games, and that's a testament to our leadership group as well, especially the returners and the guys that went through that 25, 30 game stretch in the beginning. That was not fun for a coaching staff or a player standpoint, and I think Patty and Nico and Pitts, since we've got him back, and Nui and Rowley and Beacom and a lot of other guys have done a good job of obviously controlling the emotion and making sure that when that puck drops that we're ready to go.
There we go. All right, last. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, that's all for the Bobcat Coaches Show. Again, the Bobcats and the Austin Bruins play 2 games this Friday and Saturday. Friday night is Oktoberfest night, featuring buy one, get one pregame beers from 6:15 to puck drop and special Oktoberfest-themed games throughout the night. And Saturday is Saturday Night Hockey. Nothing better to do in Bismarck for sure. Bobcats and Bruins tickets on sale now at BismarckBobcats.com and on the free Bismarck Bobcats app. You can also call the office at 222-3300. The Bobcat Coaches Show is back every Wednesday at 5 o'clock from the Tap In Tavern. Join us next week. And as always, on Super Talk 1270, the home of the Bobcats all season long. Good night.